Well, thank you very much for taking part in the slug monitoring for Slimers. And you should by now have made a couple of visits to count the slugs underneath your traps in the grid. This video is about taking the soil samples that we'll also need to send in to Harper Adams. So you should by now have received a full pack with the instructions, and you'll find within your Slug Sleuth Handbook, you'll find some full instructions on how to take the samples. This video will show you in more detail about how to sample at each location. It's very important that you follow the protocol as close as you can so that we can make sure that all the samples are taken in the same way. So within your pack you will find 100 bags and you'll also find the labels in there. So if you make sure that at each trap location, we've got location A1 here, that you match that up to the label that you put on the bag. That's also very important as well. Then once you've got your 100 samples, put them into the box, package it up, get in touch with us, and we'll give you a label to send back to Harper Adams that you can stick onto the box, and then just take it down to your local post office.
When you're taking your soil samples, it's helpful to take with you a bucket, your sampling bags, the labels, and a standard soil sampling tool. It's a good idea to have a plastic carrier bag to put the samples in. Try to keep disturbance at the site to a minimum so that the slugs are not impacted. So take the shortest walking distance, for example, and try not to collect the samples after a heavy rain spell. At each trap location in the grid, push the soil sampling tool about 20 centimeters deep before turning it and bringing this soil to the surface. Then scrape the soil into a bucket. Take 4 samples at each trap location, which should be close enough to the trap to be representative, but not so close that it causes undue disturbance to the soil around the trap. Avoid taking these samples from a tram line. Once you have collected all of the soil from the 4 sample points and it is all mixed in the bucket, take your sampling bag and carefully pour all of the soil from the bucket into the bag. Make sure the bag is tightly sealed. Check the label you place on the bag matches up with the trap location. Take care that the labels don't get wet and are legible when they're packed in the box. Use an elastic band to attach the soil reference form to one of the samples to keep them together. Email Boffin for the postage label and make sure the box is still in good condition before you post it. It may help to put the samples in a plastic bag within the box and add a few extra bands of packing tape to strengthen the box.